Miriam Elizabeth Rodriguez Martinez was an ordinary woman living in the small town of San Fernando, Tamaulipas, Mexico. Born in 1960, she led a peaceful life despite the ever-present danger lurking in the shadows of her community. The escalating violence in her city due to ongoing cartel turf wars had already driven most of her family away. But Miriam's daughter, Karen Alejandra Salinas Rodriguez, refused to leave. The 20-year-old stayed to finish her education and help her mother with the family business, unaware of the tragedy that would soon strike. In 2012, Karen was abducted by the notorious Zetas cartel, a criminal organization infamous for its brutality and ruthless tactics. The family's nightmare began when two trucks surrounded Karen's vehicle as she drove through a rural area. Armed men dragged her from her car, took her to her family's home, and tied her up. Their plan to demand ransom was disrupted by a family friend who unexpectedly arrived at the house. In a panic, kidnappers abducted both Karen and the friend, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever change Miriam's life. Zetas demanded a hefty ransom for Karen's release, and Miriam and her husband, desperate to save their daughter, took out a loan from the bank. In San Fernando, the situation had become so dire that banks issued ransom loans to families who found themselves in similar predicament. The couple delivered the money as instructed, but Karen was not returned. Despite the kidnappers' repeated demands for more money, Karen never came back. Her absence confirmed Miriam's worst fears. Refusing to accept her daughter's fate, Miriam embarked on a relentless quest for justice. Her determination to find those responsible for Karen's disappearance led her down a path of vigilantism, where she took matters into her own hands. Miriam's journey began with Sama, the only member of the gang she had met during her futile attempts to negotiate for Karen's release. Using social media, Miriam tracked down Sama, identifying him in a photo with a woman in an ice cream shop uniform. After confirming his identity, she began staking out the shop, watching the woman's shifts until Sama appeared. When he did, she followed them home, noting their address. But this was just the beginning. Miriam went undercover, cutting and dyeing her hair, and posing as a government health worker to gather information about Sama and his associate. Despite her meticulous work, when she finally presented her findings to the authorities, they showed little interest. Crime and corruption had reached unprecedented levels in Mexico, and Miriam's pleas for help fell on deaf ears. By the time an arrest warrant was issued, Sama had already fled. Undeterred, Miriam continued her pursuit, expanding her search to other members of the gang. Her investigative skills were impressive, and she soon located several of Sama's associates. Her efforts bore fruit in 2014 when Sama was finally arrested after being spotted by Miriam's son in a shop. Under interrogation, Sama provided the names of his accomplices, leading to the capture of Christian Jose Zapata Gonzalez, an 18-year-old involved in Karen's abduction. During Christian's questioning, Miriam's compassion for the young man surfaced despite her grief. She offered him lunch, and her kindness prompted Christian to confess to everything, including Karen's location. He led the police to an abandoned ranch where they found Karen's belongings, confirming Miriam's worst fears. Although forensic evidence initially did not recover Karen's body, Miriam's persistence led to a second search, where Karen's remains were finally discovered in 2015. But Miriam's quest for justice did not end with the discovery of Karen's remains. Her determination to bring every one of her daughter's kidnappers to justice drove her to continue hunting down gang members. She used disguises, fake IDs, and her sharp investigative mind to track them, even tackling one of them to the ground herself and holding him at gunpoint until the police arrived. Over 3 years, Miriam managed to capture or locate nearly every living gang member responsible for her daughter's death. Miriam's efforts brought her widespread recognition in Mexico, turning her into a symbol of courage and resistance against the cartel. However, this fame also made her a target. Cartels viewed her as a threat, and on May 10, 2017, Mother's Day in Mexico, Miriam was brutally murdered outside her home. She was shot 13 times by the same criminals she had put behind bars. Tragic end to her relentless pursuit of justice. Miriam's death sent shockwaves throughout Mexico. and the authorities were pressured to find her killers. Her death highlighted the dangers faced by those who dared to stand up to the powerful criminal organizations plagued the country. Despite the tragic end, Miriam's legacy lives on. She had founded a group called Desaparecidos de San Fernando to help other families find their missing loved ones, a group that her son now leads in her memory. Miriam Rodriguez was more than a grieving mother. She was a warrior, a detective, and a hero. Her story is a testament to the lengths a mother will go to for her child, and it serves as an inspiration to others facing similar injustices. While her life was cut short, Miriam's courage and determination continue to inspire those who fight against the violence and corruption that have devastated so many lives in Mexico. May her soul rest in peace, and may her family find healing after their great loss.